And going back to the most common question of how do I work with them if they are working in another country or thousands of miles away from my location. So that would really depend on the responsibilities that you would delegate to the virtual assistant.
Hey, welcome to Loan Officer Growth, the podcast that helps LOs grow their business, increase their success, and have more freedom. Today, we have Gerard with Remote Assistant Scout on tap. So we're going to talk about technologies. We're going to talk about a bunch of fun stuff. Gerard, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you again for having me today. How are you?
Doing good. Just having an awesome, today's Tuesday. So yeah, just having a great day.
Are you excited for the holidays? And how's the weather down there in Texas?
So we got a little cold front, so it's going to be 50s, which is really cold for Texas. So yeah, we're doing good. It's going to be, for those of you listening, it may already be past Thanksgiving, but we have Thanksgiving this week, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right. That's awesome to hear. So sure. So
technologies.
what are we talking about? Technologies. All right. So I guess, Richard, these are a few of the most common questions that our clients would typically ask. And that is, how would I work with a virtual assistant if they're working remotely? So again, that is the essence of a virtual assistant. You don't have to give them like an actual or provide an actual office for them to work. They're typically working at home. And when we say remote, they could be working on another state or perhaps on another country. So here at Remote Assistant Scout, we typically outsource our candidates or virtual assistants here in the Philippines. And going back to the most common question of how do I work with them if they are working in another country or thousands of miles away from my location. So that would really depend on the responsibilities that you would delegate to the virtual assistant. But I'm just going to mention to you here the top three or the most common activities that our lender or realtor clients would typically delegate to the virtual assistant. And the number one is really on the phone calls. In today's market, a lot of online platforms for calling are being utilized by mortgage lenders and, their offices. We have Ring Central, we have Phone Burner. You could also use Skype.com. And whether you believe it or not, there's also Zoom phones. So that is readily available. I guess it just started like last year. I'm not entirely sure, but it's a new platform that, that would actually offer you like a calling service unlimited to United States and Canada, and as well as, provide a local number, or you can, avail of the local number because you don't want somebody to be calling or your virtual assistant be calling from a 00 number or a no number, right?
Right.
So that is kind of like included. So what we say to our clients is typically we would recommend Ring Central if there's a huge number of team members within the company. So either, 3, 4, 5, or 6 members, that will be the right platform for you. However, if you're just, a solo lender, or if you had just 3 people, or 2 people in your team, in your office, and then, there are available platforms like Grasshopper, dialpad.com or skype.com or Zoom phones that you could actually utilize. And it's very practical since, it would typically cost you around $20 for 3 months or quarterly. So that is the most practical option. But if your office is also utilizing Ring Central, and then the virtual assistant can basically just plug in.
So let's say you're a loan officer and you hire your first virtual assistant and you want that VA to make outbound calls for you. Are you saying you could set up a Skype and then also have them call out a phone burner to give them a local number? Or what is the best way to set this up if you're a solo loan officer wanting your VA to make outbound calls and it to look like they're here
Mhm.
in, their city making those
Oh yeah.
calls.
All right, so I forgot to mention about phone burner, and I just want to be realistic about this because phone burner is really intended to calling like huge, amount of list. So these are typically, used by mortgage lenders if there are thousands of realtor list or home buyer list in their pipeline. However, if it's just like below 1,000, and then we would recommend a manual dialer such as Skype.com or Dialpad or Grasshopper. But with phone burner, yes, it can be connected to your Skype. And how it works is that, they're going to use the Skype and calling the phone number that phone burner is going to give you. And in phone burner as well, inside phone burner, if you have a pro account, you don't need to, to use an external platform and just call directly into phone burner. And I believe, you also have the option of putting your phone number or your office number there. So at least if you're going to get a call back, the call will be rerouted to you instead of the virtual assistant.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And with phone burner, it would typically call like 50 to 100 per hour, depending on the conversation and as well as the flow of the call by the virtual assistant.
Right. So if you're wanting to schedule 5 to 10 realtor appointments a week, having a VA call for 2 hours a day on using phone burner will probably hit that goal, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Way beyond the target goal. So depending on you, because I've been hearing lenders that they don't want to set any more appointments by the virtual assistant. So they would have or delegate other tasks to the virtual assistant since their schedule is already full. Because there's a possibility really that if you have a great virtual assistant and then they could secure all of these appointments or target appointments for you like in a day or two.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And
so go ahead.
so we mentioned about outbound calling, right? And setting appointments either with realtors for business and home buyers. So we would also recommend using like a online calendar platform like Calendly.com. It can be synced to your Gmail calendar, to your Outlook calendar, and it will be the most practical way for your virtual assistant to know your schedule without you giving them the details, and as well as for them to know what's your availability all throughout the week and all throughout the month, or maybe all throughout the year. And they can just
Yeah,
plot the appointments there.
I love that Calendly connection to either your Google Calendar or your Outlook. And what's really cool is the virtual assistant can set the appointments. And what Calendly will do automatically is it'll do a couple things. It'll post the appointment onto the realtor's calendar or the borrower or whoever they're setting the appointment with. It'll also send them a reminder via email and a reminder via text. So yeah, Calendly is an amazing technology, which it's pretty cheap too, right? It's less than $10 a month.
Mm-hmm. It is. And it will be, a lot more helpful for everybody in your office, to utilize that one and schedule those appointments seamlessly and, just do the automatic thing of, doing those reminders to your borrowers or to your realtor partners.
Cool. So I'm a new LO or an LO that newly hires a virtual assistant. What are the technologies as far as what's the best way to communicate between me and my virtual assistant? Can you give some of those options?
Well, Slack is, an online software where you can do some daily communication with your virtual assistant. So it's like Messenger or Facebook Messenger, but it's really dedicated if you have, other team members, like 3 or 4 team members. So that will make your communication a lot easier. And I heard you mentioning Skype as well. So these are, the online communication platforms that you could use. There's Skype.com And depending as to what's going to be more convenient for you, because, we've had clients who also preferred, WhatsApp or Viber. And we also had a client who preferred Facebook Messenger. So whatever's going to be more convenient for you.
Yep. And speaking of that, communicating with your virtual assistant, I wanted to mention, this isn't a technology, but it's very important to mention this, that your virtual assistant will give an end of day report at the end of every shift and kind of go over everything that they accomplished for the day. So if you're a busy loan officer and you definitely don't want to micromanage a virtual assistant. You want to give them goals and let them know what you want completed for the day. But at the end of the day, the VA will get back with you. So if it's via Slack or Skype or an email, they can send you an end of day report that kind of basically shows everything they accomplished for the day, the goals that they hit, the appointments that they scheduled, or how many calls, how many, appointments and so forth, sending those whichever way you feel most comfortable as far as communication.
That is right. And I also forgot to mention Zoom. I mean, you as an employer working with virtual assistants, you have the option of doing some weekly meetings or daily meetings with your virtual assistant. And one way for you to communicate is, go use zoom.com or maybe gotomeeting.com. You can talk there face to face virtually, and you can discuss what's happening or, their progress, what needs to be done, or how they can help you, make everything more efficient. So
Awesome.
just about any time, for as long as it is within their working hours. So you can schedule a call or perhaps, a Zoom meeting or a video call meeting with your virtual assistant. Or if both of you are using iPhone, and then you can just use FaceTime, right?
Right. Yeah.
For everybody's convenience.
Yeah, that's a great thought, because you really want to have a video, even if it's a little 5-minute huddle each morning, just to get things going for the day. That works. And Slack also allows you to do video calls, which is pretty cool.
All right.
Cool.
So there are tons of available platforms that you could use in communicating with a virtual assistant. So whichever is going to be more convenient for you and for your business.
So you mentioned earlier, before we actually started recording, I have a quick question. Let's say I'm a loan officer and my company will not allow my virtual assistant to have access to my CRM. What are some options that you see loan officers taking that help with that? What are some go-arounds that'll help the VA get access to the information to make the calls?
Well, you have a few options on there. Well, thank you so much for that recap of that question. But well, anyway, the first one is, this would be the most practical way for you to transfer information, and that is by using like a Google spreadsheet or an Excel file and share it to your virtual assistant. And you don't need to put any other information there. You can just put the phone number, maybe the name of the client or the realtor, their phone number, and if you're comfortable, you can also provide or add their email addresses. And this is how we do it before. Even though that we have an access with a CRM, we have a separate Google spreadsheet. It's online. It's easily accessible by everybody in the team, because we also track our calls, right? So this is where we track our calls, put our call remarks. So it's like centralized. Everything that we do, or all of the updates that we do into the Google spreadsheet is also being updated in the CRM. However, depending on the CRM, there are CRMs that won't give you like a quick view, right? It's tricky sometimes. However, in contrast with Google spreadsheet, everything will be there in just one view. You will see everything as to what's going on, and if this lead or realtor has been settled for an appointment or not, if this borrower has already been called or not, and you don't need to go through their contact pages if you're in the CRM. So that's what we were doing before. And another thing is for you to have like security of your clients' information. You can also use gotomeeting.com or a remote access. So what happens here is basically the virtual assistant will just work in their computer. However, the screen will be yours. And they can't take any information on there unless they're just going to take a screenshot or whatever. But that is one way for you to to ensure that the information is also secured by using a remote PC or a remote computer platform.
Right. That's some good options.
So those are the two things. But basing on our history, we haven't encountered a situation that compromised the confidentiality of your clients or our clients if that makes
Right.
sense. And fortunately for us, and also if you would require a contract for confidentiality clauses, and then our team can also help you out and putting that together and have the virtual assistant sign it, and you can sign it, and at least for your peace of mind.
Yeah, in 12 years of hiring virtual assistants, we've hired thousands, and we've never ever seen one case of any kind of stolen information or anything. So yeah, it's
Fortunately.
very fortunate, but in 12 years, that's zero. So that's a good number.
And by the way, also all of the candidates that we will provide or that will be endorsed to you are already screened on our end. So
Right.
mandatory background checking has already been performed. So we know exactly that there had been no history of of stolen information or the breach of confidentiality clauses prior.
Right. Well, we're running at the end of the time. Do you want to talk real quick a little bit about what Remote Assistant Scout does and how you help loan officers?
Oh, yeah, sure. So thank you. And Remote Assistant Scout. So we are a boutique online firm that, that caters mortgage loan officers and realtors in finding their own virtual assistant depending on their needs. So basically we do the legwork for you of vetting and finding that virtual assistant and help you out and finding the best fit virtual assistant for your business. And mortgage is our main niche. I've been a mortgage virtual assistant myself or working with a mortgage lender. So I know the market, the ins and outs, and this is our industry, really.
Love it.
So I could say for myself that, I'm an expert and, in finding the mortgage virtual assistant for you guys. And by the way, just a short recap. So technically we are just recruiters and, virtual assistants will be working directly with you and your team. So again, for confidentiality reasons, we won't be having any access to any of your database or client information too.
Very cool.
The relationship will just be between you and the virtual assistant later, and our team can just go in if in any case we encounter some problems, and if the virtual assistant would need additional training, and we can just help out and go in.
Very nice. And if somebody wants a strategy call, what should they do? Like a free strategy call?
For a free strategy call, no obligation. And this is just, an assessment if this is something that would be feasible for you and your business. You can just go to remote, REMOTE assistant, ASSISTAN.com, ANTSCOUT.com. It will be under the link will be provided to you under this frame, and as well as in our email to you guys.
Very cool. So remoteassistantscout.com, they can set up a free strategy call, ask questions, find out if it's a good fit to hire a virtual assistant and increase your business as a loan officer immediately. So that's a free service to have a strategy call and see if it's a good fit. Well, awesome, Gerard. It's great having you on again. Very, very cool. If there's anybody has any questions, again, go to remoteassistantscout.com and they can talk to Gerard.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.